All right, folks, we are live and we'll be starting in about 2 minutes. All right, well, welcome to Stock Analysis Friday on this March 15th, 2024. Hope everybody is doing well out there. Let me know if you have any audio or video problems during the presentation. You can let me know about that in the comments area. And in the meantime, the purpose of Stock Analysis Friday is basically what we do here is we look up symbols that you type in that you want me to analyze using our software in different forms of technical analysis. So you can go ahead and enter those in now. We look up stocks and ETFs. I'll be taking a look at Bitcoin and some of the cryptos as well for you. But let's have a lot of fun. We usually get about a handful of good opportunities ready to go for later this afternoon or next week. All right, and if you're watching the recording, take a look at it over the weekend and you'll be ready to go as well next week. All right, I'm going to put a bunch of links in the recording as well for our books and our software and things of that nature. I'm going to go through a few administrational items right now. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first thing I want to go over, of course, are the risks involved in trading. Like I always say each and every week, there are risks in the markets. We have to protect ourselves as best as possible. You can't take the risk totally out of any trade or investment that you do, but you can be smart about it. And one of the first things you really should do, of course, whenever you're taking a trade is make sure that you're trading with money you can afford to do that with. A lot of people call that risk capital. So make sure you have enough risk capital to do that. And also then make sure that you calculate your risk on each and every trade. I have several books I'm going to show you in just a moment that basically cover that and teach you how to do that. And it's really important to do that because we never know, even with a proven system, if a trade is really going to be successful or not. And we want to protect our downside. So you want to kind of keep your losses as small as possible and keep your wins larger than your losses. And that gives you the best chance of being successful in this business because you will not win every trade. And then finally, any of the recommendations I do here or analysis and forecast, remember that it is a probability outcome, not a definitive one. So past performance doesn't guarantee future performance as well. So the reason I say that is I want you to check with your financial advisor or whoever manages your money to be sure anything that we recommend here is suitable for you. I don't know your personal situation, and they, of course, certainly should, and they can advise you of what to do on that. So that kind of covers most of the risks. There are several things you need to take into consideration. All right, so a couple books that may interest you on the risk control situation are my money management books. I got 2 of them up there. I got one second to the right called Money Management for Traders. And in that book, we give you what you need to know to get going right away. It's kind of like a quick start to money management. On the far left is a more in-depth, comprehensive book called A Trader's Money Management System. And that goes into much more details. And that was published by Wiley. And also to my new book, The Art of Trading, also being published by Wiley and due out this year, is my 2nd edition. And I think it's going to be one of the best books I've ever written. It's going to cover a lot of new material, including our new software since the 1st edition came out in 2008. And then I have Elliott Wave Techniques, which is a form of technical analysis. And that book is available as well on many bookstores as well as Amazon, published by McGraw-Hill. And the Survival Guide for Traders is a reference manual on how to get your business set up right from your home. And it's really the latest technology and so forth is in that book. All right, so I also wanted to cover real quickly our trading system here. I'm going to put links again at the bottom for our books. You can go to our website. We have 2, appliedrealitytrading.com and traderscoach.com as well, where we feature our software. And basically, our software looks at price patterns in the market, repetitive price patterns that have high probabilities of success. And also we have scanners and risk control software. So we kind of cover all the major bases you need to think about when placing a trade. And because of that, especially because of the risk control, we call that the ultimate trading system. All right, and then finally, give us a like, subscribe, and share. If you could do that right now, that helps us out a lot. And then we can go ahead and dig in. So first thing I want to show you here is Bitcoin. So this is BTC USD. I'm going to take a look at GBTX, which is the ETF of that. But as expected, it is starting to pull back. You can see that on the far left-hand side. What you're looking at here is a 60-minute chart, which means that every price bar on that chart on the far left represents about an hour of market activity. So this kind of gives you an intraday short-term look of what's going on. And then in the middle, we have a daily chart. And this is kind of your intermediate and standard way in which most people look at the markets. And then on the far right-hand side is a longer-term chart called the weekly chart, where every price bar represents 5 days of trading activity. So I'm going to full size that now so you can kind of see it at this particular point. And what we do is we use all 3 time frames to help us time and get a really in-depth look at whatever market we're really looking at. At the top, we have our scanners running here. We're not going to be using those today, but this is how we find markets to trade, because we can put a lot of like the NASDAQ 100 or the S&P 500 in there, and it will scan the entire market base. Now, all our software is being used right now on a charting platform that's really fantastic called NinjaTrader. And so basically what happens is NinjaTrader has its own website. You can download the software there and then come to us and purchase our software to install inside that. Really simple, sets up great. All right, so that's kind of what we're looking at on Bitcoin here. So for example, I've got an order in on Coinbase to buy some Bitcoin when it gets down into this retracement area, because I think this is going to be temporary. I think this is just a temporary pullback before the halving, and then I think it should go back up. We got a very strong amount of momentum still on the daily chart. So this is the owl. This is one of our indicators that looks at the Elliott wave. For those of you Elliott wave folks, there are 5 waves in a trend. We're in wave 3. I don't think we're going in yet to a major wave 3 on the daily. I think this is just a minor pullback before the hook, the next hook that could end wave 3 at some point, maybe after the halving, a little bit of a pause. But very bullish on Bitcoin overall. More highs should be coming on this. We can't always say that for certainty, of course, but certainly the probabilities of our system telling us more highs is quite high here. So I think any pullback you see in this particular week, use it as an opportunity to add to your Bitcoin position. And that's certainly what I think I will be doing as well. All right, so I just wanted to cover that. There's also, for those of you that don't have cryptos accounts, there is a ETF crypto for Bitcoin, and that's GBTC. Okay, here's the other one here. This also working its way down into a corrective range since it kind of represents Bitcoin as well. So this operates kind of like a stock, and you can do this right through your stock broker. So a lot of people end up doing that. There are some fees associated with ETFs. So keep that in mind as well. All right, well, let's jump in and see what folks want to take a look at here. We've got Lowell. How you doing, Lowell? All right, KR. Let's take a look at KR here. And yeah, KR has been moving up pretty good. Now, Lowell, are you considering these or are you in these? Because if you are in them, I'd say stay in them for now. If you're considering them, I would say it's too late. Okay, so it all depends on where you are with these. So that's a big plus. Okay, so there's no reason not to stay long on these. Okay, I think long term you could even hold these fairly well, and I'm seeing this a lot in the market. I know a lot of people think the market's going to sell off really soon. I don't see that quite yet. I see that more towards the end of the year, going into the latter half, maybe around election or after election, but I don't see it right now. My target on this, Lowell, is about 69 to 86. If you look on that chart on the far right, I've drawn the fib extensions, okay? In them, okay, good. So Lowell's in these, and I would say stay in these. And that doesn't mean you're going to not get a pullback, but you should, you know, the market has to go up, breathe a little bit, and then keep going in the direction. So even though the trend seems like it's in place for the next move to higher highs, doesn't mean you're going to get slight pullbacks. So yeah, I think you definitely kind of want to stay with that, okay? INO is our next one. And similar thing on this one. Okay, so on this one here, we have popped up off the bottom. Look at the chart on the far right. Pretty positive sign right there. So I think at this particular point, you're looking at possibly a breakout from a trend that may have ended to the downside that has been in place for 4 years. So yeah, I'm liking this. I think more highs are coming on this. I think you got to keep your stop fairly far away. We might have a little volatility here. Let's just plug in a really quick short-term profit area here. I think probably maybe we're at $11, so maybe 90 to 143 is where this is going. All right, so I actually like this one. I'm going to recommend this one, even though it's kind of broken away on the daily chart. On the weekly chart, I think this might be a good entry for a long term. I want to point out that we have a pyramid that's green on the weekly chart. I'm going to open up this weekly chart for a moment so everybody can see it. But notice we have this pyramid here that is just been initiated. So it's an ideal price to get in, and also put your stop at the bottom, okay? So that's really key there. So you got to give it some leeway, and you probably could use an option on this too, a call option. Just make it a long-term one, like a leap almost. So that's a long-term play. I do think you could probably get a pullback. We've been running up for the last, 20 days straight up. But in terms of a long-term play, it's at its infancy. In terms of a short-term play, it's kind of a little too far advanced. So you got to keep that in mind. You might want to wait for a pullback if it's a shorter-term play. All right, so that's INO. Let's take a look at AQB and jump in there with that bad boy. Okay, so this one here looks like it's still in a bottoming process. I don't think I would touch it yet. We don't have a breakout on the far right-hand chart. We still have a move down on the daily chart. See, the pyramid here is now down, and we have a red owl across the board on all 3 time frames. So this is why I like to look at 3 time frames. It kind of gives me a good synopsis of the short-term, intermediate, long, and I don't see any bullish on either one of those. So I would stay away from that one. Keep an eye on it. You can put that on your watch list, because if it does break out and we get some bullish pyramids on the long-term chart, then that would signal that the market may have put a bottom in and we're on our way up, okay? So good job on those, okay? But the one I like the best is INO, okay? INO. All right, let's keep moving here. I see a lot coming in here. All right, let's go and take a look here at Al. I think you're next there. So Al, RUM, rum. Okay, so we'll take a look here. Looks like it's starting to break out. Not much history. We've got a red PTF there. So in this case here, you have a green PTF, which is this indicator over here that we look at. So on the PTFs, that's the indicator in the center, kind of. That's this one here. So on there, what happens is basically it's a 75% accuracy rate on this. And it's basically saying that this bottom, you find the lowest price in the red area. And there's a 75% chance the market's going to reverse and come eventually back down there. But you have a green one coming up still here. So this here has a little bit more room to go to the upside, but not a lot. And until that red PTF changes, I'm not so sure if this is going to be something you want to hold for a while. Okay, so if you're in it and you got in it on the 60-minute chart, which was more bullish, that's great. But kind of keep an eye on that, because if it reverses and comes down, then we could get a kind of a new bottom here. So you got to be careful, okay, on that one. All right, DGX. Let's take a look at that one. Now, if you're thinking about short trades, please tell me short. If you are in long trades, tell me you're in them. That way it kind of helps me analyze the market on what you should personally do. All right, this one is DGX. We got a red PTF in the center. I don't see any opportunities on this one. All right, let's go to YUM. All right, so YUM is looking bullish at this particular point. Let's see where we're going up on this. If you're in it, I probably at this point stay in it. You got a pyramid here in the long-term chart for a long position, but I don't think I would go into this at this point, okay? I think it's already near its PTF top, which is this area here. And so I'm kind of thinking, we may be close to a top there, at least a moderate top, and we may see some selling after the next high. So not enough room. Maybe you get to 145, but it's still pulling back a little bit, okay, Al? So I don't think I would touch that on those. All right, Jim, how are you? All right, long, thank you for telling me. VOO for you. All right, so I think you're probably long on this already. All right, a couple things here. We've got a green PTF now on the weekly chart, so more highs are coming. If you're not in this, folks, do not get in it now. Don't chase it. We're probably due for a pullback at some point. Since this is green, this will probably not be a major trend yet, and you still have a very strong owl on the weekly. So I'm thinking maybe, Jim, on this one, we get a pullback to around 438, maybe 426. At the worst case scenario, maybe 414, right around that target there. But then after that, it should recover and go higher. So again, this is where you've got to decide your intention when you take a trade. Are you going to get out of profits that you've been in since October? Because that's when the market took off. So do you want to get out and then try to get back in? Or is this more of a long-term intention that you have where you don't want to trade the corrections, but instead stay with it? So that's a personal decision that you guys have to make on your own. And if you need help with that, of course, that's, your financial advisor can help you with that. But there's two ways you could play it, okay? But I do think if you're going to play it where you want to take your profits out, I would put my stop right under this area here, okay? So that's where I would do that. All right, so that is that one. Let's take a look at your next one, which of course I'm very familiar with. USO is the ETF for oil. I'm very bullish on this. We have been for quite some time. And this is one in our subscription service called the Market Opportunity Report, where basically it's a stock picking and market analyzing service. We've recommended this one already as a long position. Our target is about 99 up to 125. Probably get reached by late summer into that target, I think. So gas prices are it looks like they're heading up now for a while. Okay, so that's our target on that. I don't think it's too late to get in. So once again, I'm still going to recommend. I recommended it last week, so I'm going to put USO again down as another recommendation. All right, our next one on your list here, Jim, is COWZ. All right, so this one here, taking off, we looked at this one before. Now notice we have a target up here of 58.22 on the far right-hand side to 69.40 in between those two blue lines. So that's our target for a wave 5. So you kind of want to be a little nimble here. When you get into that target, start moving your stops up. The stop currently for the weekly chart is right around 50, and same for about the daily. So we've got more highs coming, okay? So any pullback, Jim, that you have here should be temporary. Doesn't mean it can't come down 3 points or so to a pullback or profit-taking area, but we should see more highs after that. So I know you're familiar because you're in our day trading room, Jim, of the hook. So I guess what I'm saying here is you probably will see the hook, okay? And then we take off from there, okay? So that's kind of the deal on that. All right, so keep an eye on that one, and that is COWZ. I'm not going to recommend that because we're so close to the target, but since you're already in it, that is good for you. Ellen, already long on these. Good to see you here. All right, CELH. Let's take a look at this. Now, I got a couple of emails. One of the things I really love is a lot of people are coming and they're saying, you know, they like coming here because they get calls from their stockbroker or financial advisor and on certain stocks, and they like to bring them here for us to take a look at them technically. A lot of the brokers out there will call you based on fundamentals, but sometimes it's also good to get a good look at the technicals before allocating any money of that to see if they're in agreement. So if that's the case with you, you're more than welcome to bring any of those picks and we'll go over them here for you. All right, so we have exceeded the target range, okay, and we're still going up. So 15% of the time this occurs where we actually exceed. And these are fib extensions. So basically what we do is our high probability target is between 61.8 and 100 on a wave 5. However, you can go to 1.6, you know, and basically 15% of the time that's doing it. So I see no reason to get out of this yet. We have green here, very strong. And this looks like to be a wave 3. So these are probably waves inside a major 3. So Eleanor, I see no reason to get out of this. All right, none whatsoever. If you're worried about a stop, I'd put it pretty far down. All right, just let the market breathe and keep going with it. So stay with that one, and we'll take a look at it even next week. You can bring it each and every week. Let's take a look at applied materials for you, AMAT. All right, another one that has reached the target. But again, what I want to point out here is you have so much bullishness on the weekly chart. And this is why, you know, a lot of people are calling for the market to sell off soon, like in April. And I got to be honest with you, I don't see it yet. All right, I think the market's going to remain strong for most of 2024. Now, with that said, I do see a major top coming in the market sometime in late 2024, and we will have to worry about that. Because after that, we could see a good crash in the market, like a 40 to 50% drop. But we're not there yet. So set your sails for the current market and sail the current market, so to speak. In other words, the trend is your friend. Stay with it. We'll see it when it changes. And then at that time, you worry about it and get out. But these are pretty strong markets at this particular point. And I see more highs. Now, with that said, on applied materials, we are pulling back a little bit. You can see the pullback here. So let's kind of get a target of where this profit-taking, short-term profit-taking pullback is going. And for that, we'll use our fibs on the 60-minute time frame. And now let me just draw these in here. And then let me just make sure I've got the right area there. Yeah, so that looks, I think I'm going to draw that in a little bit lower right around there. Okay, so the target on this pullback, and we may have hit it already, is 194.23 to 181. We just missed it, actually. But I want you to note that 15% of the time, wave 4s only pull back to that area. 70% of the time, they pull back here. So we've already reached the 15% of the time. And normally what happens in a very strong bullish trend or bearish trend, whatever the direction you're going in, is sometimes it only pulls back to 15%. If it's a more orderly trend, you'll get a little bit more of a pullback. So, well, I would watch this. We still have an active pyramid here on the 60-minute chart, but if you're long this, I really wouldn't sweat it. you know, your stop down here on the pyramid, and this is how we use our pyramids here that look at fractals in the market and trend trading patterns. Basically, it's got your stop around 180, which is way below, all right, this lower portion. So I think you can use that, and I think you can stay long on this because I believe after this pullback, more highs are coming. All right, let's take a look at Oracle. All right, so Oracle really jumped up, okay, and it hit its first target here. Again, we have a green PTF on the weekly chart, so more highs. You're going to go deeper into that target. You also have a situation here where you have more highs showing on the 60-minute. So I think at this particular point, there's a couple things to do. Actually, this PTF will probably turn yellow going into next week because we took out the high. So once today ends, you'll see that yellow, okay? So, you know, what I probably would do here is start thinking about ratcheting your stops up because you are a little bit closer to the target. I don't think we're done going up on this, but I think the next high that pushes into and above 130, you should start keeping those stops fairly close, okay? And that should keep you in as long as possible for you to get as much move to the upside inside that channel as you can, okay? So that's the way I would play that. You may get a little pull, you may get a, you know, gapped up, so you may get a little filling of the gap, but according to the 60-minute chart, you should see more highs. So I would stay with it. Use the stop on the chart here on the daily chart, which is a low of around 111.18, so 111.17, okay? All right, good ones, all right? I'm not going to recommend those because they're closer to the tops and their targets. All right, Bradley's already in 3. Excellent, thank you for telling me that. CCL, let's take a look at this one. All right, so CCL, as we looked at before, has a potential target of 29 to 44 on the long-term charts. Now, it's come down to the retracement area, and if you look on the far left-hand chart, you'll see that we now have a green PTF, no more red here. So it looks like at this particular point, we probably have a profit-taking bottom in right here, okay? So I think a long position's fine here, and you're going to have to put your stop, well, you're already in it, so you're probably in pretty good shape. You can put your stop down around this area here or here. If you want to take this one right now, you certainly could do that. I think you got pretty much a close 2-to-1 into that target zone. So let's put this one down as a buy, okay? I like it for right now. And I'd put your stop, for those just getting into it now, I'd go ahead and put your stop down below the pullback area here. So that's going to be about $14.43. And I'm sure there's an option on that as well. All right, PSA, let's take a look at PSA. All right, so PSA pulled back, still kind of pulling back. You got green PTFs though on the daily and 60-minute chart. So this trade all depends on if this is a bottom here, okay? And it looks to me like we have a good case for that. It's an ABC correction. So the highs on this should get above 310. So if I draw the fib extensions on the weekly chart, which I'm going to do right now, let's take a look and see on this move up where they certainly could be. We're talking about 380 to 470 with a PTF right around, let's see where that is, on a daily chart at 310. So it would have to go a little bit higher to reach into the weekly target zone. So I would not go into this now because for those that are new, because we're still pulling back. All right, you got to wait for the lower time frame chart to really turn around and go back up. But if you're in it already, all right, you got to make sure your stop is low enough to survive this pullback. And let's draw fib retracements on the daily chart. So your stop needs to be below 268.61, okay, in order for you to have a chance of surviving this pullback. Okay, so eventually it should stop and turn around and make new highs, but we're still pulling back, okay? PSA. All right, so let's keep going here. Al's back with CTRA. Let's take a look at that one. And again, I don't know if you're long or thinking about going into this. All right, so this is perking up a little bit. And let's open up. It's kind of a messy chart. So let's open this up and see what's really cooking here. We had a double bottom here, almost a triple bottom. So that's a good sign. We had a wave 3 here. We're now in a new wave 3 inside possibly a wave 5 or perhaps a wave 3. Let's see what that shows me here. This owl is at, that's pretty good reading there. Okay. Let's see what it is. It's 2. This owl is at 7.34. This one's 7.91. So far, this owl is not as high as this one. So this is a wave 5 so far. Okay, it looks like probably we're made that. All right, let's do a fib extension and see what we have cooking on this. And it looks like we're in the target already. Okay, so I'm not going to recommend this because that's the target. We don't have any green PTFs. But at this particular point, we do have a little bit more room. It's 26.71 to current price, going up to 34, possibly to 48. So you would have to put your stop down here. Now you might have a 2 to 1 there. I guess we could go with that. Okay, so I guess we could put CTRA as a buy this week. I want you to put your stop. Your stop is going to be really important on this one. So let's try to hit this one right. I would put your stop at 24, under 24.98, just under that. So maybe 24.97, okay? And that should keep you in if this thing is going to go. All right, so that's CTRA. All right, let's take a look at your next one, PLTR. PLTR. All right. So this has history back to 2021. Tough to get an Elliott wave count on that. Definitely bullish right now. And where is it going? That's the $1 million question, right? So I have no helps from the PTFs for targets. So I think we looked at this last week and we looked at a target up here on the 60-minute chart between 28 and 31. We got pretty darn close. I don't think I would do anything with it, okay? That one doesn't do much for me. Let's go over to GERN. This one's gapped up quite a bit and cheap stock. Don't know where it's going, really. I mean, look how messy that is. So I'm not going to touch that one either, okay? All right, let's keep going. Stu. All right, so SWKS. SWKS. All right. So we're kind of in this area where we're a little bit range bound on this. At this particular point, I'm not going to do much with it. I kind of want this thing to break out a little bit more before I get too excited about it. So I'm going to pass on that one. All right. RNG. I like to look for good, clear patterns. All right, so this one's interesting. And if you notice on the weekly chart, all the way up, all the way down. So now we look for a basing. And we're kind of seeing that setup right here, okay? What I love about stocks that you can get in near a bottom is that it gives you the best possibility for stop loss placement. Because if you can put your stop as close to the bottom as possible, then that gives you the ability to avoid any volatility stopping you out. So in this case here, we're at 34.89. We've got a green PTF here and green here. Got a little red coming down here. So we're pulling back a little bit, okay? But that does not bother me that much. So at that particular point here, I would probably put my stop under here. I think what I'm going to do on this one here, we haven't really broken out that significant yet, but I do like the green PTF and it's sitting way up here at the breakout area. So I'm actually going to put this one down as a buy, okay? I'm going against the short-term 60-minute chart, but I'm pretty confident because we have a green pyramid here, a green PTF, and a green. So this is an early entry. If you want to be more conservative and wait for the recovery in the 60-minute chart, you can, but there are exceptions to everything, and this was what would line up as an exception for me to go long. So I'm going to put that down, Stuart, as an immediate buy. So good job on that. All right, so let's keep going here. All right, DBC. Let's see what you got for DBC. All right, so this is a ETF, I believe. Okay, so on this one here, let's see what we got cooking on the daily chart. Let me open that up. All right, so what I try to look for when I look at a chart like this is I kind of try to focus on what the Elliott wave count is. And the first thing I try to do is locate wave 3. Once you find wave 3, that's your first marker as to figuring out what cycle you're in. So this has been we're making new lows here. So this is a very complex long-term correction at this particular point. It has not gone down enough to invalidate a wave 4. Okay, so that's step 1. So what's happening now? We may be going into wave 5, and if that's the case, we'll have new highs on that. So let's do a few quick check and verify some things here. So let's go for a retracement here. Let's see where we could get a first reasonable correction. So there is our wave 4 target, and smack, we hit that perfectly. So that makes sense for a wave 4, right? Now let's draw our wave 5 possible extensions here. So if we have a bottom here, we want to choose the lowest price. Let's just put it right around in that area there. Then our target is 32 to 39, right? Now we got the PTF, which is this indicator here, still yellow, but look, it's moving up fairly rapid. If it gets above this upper band, it will turn green. We have green here. We have a pyramid here at the bottom. So I'm liking the weekly chart, and that would be my target. So let's now see how these smaller time frames are doing here, okay? So where was that target? Let me just open this up again. Okay, so long term, this is the weekly. So the target, good, I drew the target on the daily. Sorry about that. All right, so we're looking good there, looking good there. I'm saying it's a buy, all right? This is probably the best one today, okay? So I'm liking that a lot. That's DBC. All right, Eleanor's back. Good to have you back, Eleanor. Okay, ZS. ZS, long and all. Good, thank you. All right, so we anticipated a pullback. We got it. All right, and it's hitting our target range now. Notice on the 60-minute chart, we're starting to see bullish divergence between the momentum. So when you see prices making lower lows, but the momentum is not as low as before, that's actually bullish. Doesn't mean it's turned around yet, but it's bullish. Now we hit the target range. We may go down a little further. We still have a fairly strong movement down here. So we still may be in C wave, wave 3 of C waves. And we're, smacking the target here. So if you don't mind a little bit more downside at this point, we should recover after this move is down and then go back up. Could go down to 180. Okay, so another 16 points is possible on this. Okay, so that's like what, 8%? So it could go down another 8%. But after that, it should recover. So I'll leave that up to you to decide how you want to play that. I'd probably just stick with it at this point. NET. Okay, so that's pulling back a little bit. But look, we got green PTFs across the board. This is nothing more than a temporary profit-taking pullback. I'd stay with it, okay? No reason to get out of that. All right, and then Google. All right, green PTF there is good. All right, so Google's a little different because we've had a nice run up off the bottom here. This was a wave 4 bottom. Okay, so that's a 3, 4, 5. Let me open up that chart and let's get a nice target on Google right now for you. Okay, so this is basically what I'm going to go down and do here is give a extension, run some fib extensions on this big move up here. And I'm going to run them right from here to here to here. So we're in that target, classic 3, 4, 5. That's exactly what you want to see on the owl. All right. And now let's see if the lower time frames are indicating more movement to the upside, and we do. We have a green PTF. So I'm thinking on this, Eleanor, the next high, when it gets above basically, what, 155, I would start keeping those stops fairly tight because we may be getting to a top here in Google. Temporary top, but a top that you probably will want to get out of. Okay? So keep that in mind. Bring it here next week. I think it'll be okay for probably a month or so in this. So keep bringing it, and let's see, because it could take a little while to get up to that 155 area. Certainly, I think probably bring it every week, and we'll take a look at it. Okay. All right. Good. 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 Let's see what else, Lowell. Let's see what you got here. All right. Let's take a look at SMCI. This is one, of course, it's skyrocketed. All right, so green PTFs across the board. All right, looks like Bitcoin. All right, so you know, look at the owl on the daily chart and look at it on the weekly chart. Huge. Okay, more highs are coming. So that's no question about it. But we may be at a temporary, close to a temporary. I'm going to call it not necessarily short term, but moderate top, where we get some profit taking coming in. Now we've got a green PTF on the 60-minute chart. So that's showing more highs coming before we reach any type of top. So you should be good on this. All right. Again, if your intentions are to hold this for a very long time, all right, basically any correction that we have is nothing more than profit taking. It's not yet a major change in trend because the weekly chart is so strong. So you can hold this one, almost put it under your pillow and forget about it if you don't mind the correction. So if this is a long-term situation, I would just say hold it, all right, provided you don't mind the pullbacks. If you're looking at this as a more trading opportunity, then you're going to want to time it using the short time frames, okay? So you're still in wave 3 here on the daily. You've had, you're coming up to 5, so you got one more high. So you probably have one more hook up, and that could complete wave 3. Okay, so that's kind of how I would play that. I would, you know, me personally, I would probably try to trade it because I'm a trader. I would probably get out when I anticipate the daily chart going into a major wave 4. All right. And then try to get back in because more highs are coming after that. All right, so that's SMCI. Oh boy, NVIDIA. I'm surprised we haven't looked at this before today. All right, so again, NVIDIA, tremendous run up at this point. Probably at this point, we're looking for a short-term top with some profit taking, maybe coming in slightly now, but I don't think so. I think this is just a little temporary pushback because we've got the green PTF here. So I'm thinking we're going to shoot back up. This is probably all we're going to get on this pullback. So I think another high, and I think maybe a hook to complete wave 3. And then you're going to come down for a correction and then more highs because this is extremely strong. So this is another one that you could basically, you know, put your shares under your pillow, take a nice long vacation, come back and still be happy after that. If you're trying to short-term trade this, then use the daily chart. And when you see it going into a major wave 4 on the daily chart, you could exit. All right. So again, very strong. Now, if you're new and you're just thinking about going into this, at this particular point, yeah, you might get one more high above 950. We're at 889, but then that's it. And then it's time to get out, and you would have to get ready for a wave 4 correction on the daily chart. So that could be a possibility, but you'd probably be better off sitting on the sidelines, wait for the next correction, and then get in and ride the next big move up. So NVIDIA is not over, folks, okay? NVIDIA's got a lot more room to the upside, but what we're trying to do here is basically tell you that there'll be some profit taking, and then after that, more highs coming. So you might want to wait for the profit taking to come in before you go in if you're not in it already. Okay, that's all. All right, CLNE. CLNE. Let's take a look at these. Okay, so this one still going down, making new lows on this one. So basically here at this particular point, I would not go long this. I would not go short this. It's too late. Let's wait for it to bottom. Keep an eye on this. And this may be a good long trade, especially if that PTF still stays green at some point. But, you know, when you get a PTF that's green, you got to look at price activity. You're not going to go long right now. All right, it's making new lows, and you got all the bearishness very apparent in both the pyramids and that. The PTF is saying when this is over, all right, the target should be above 20 if that stays green. Okay, so you got to look at it's always a combination of looking at things and sorting it out. So don't go long yet. Keep this on a watch list if you want to, and then we can take a look at it when it finally looks like it's bottomed. But so far it's not. So you don't want to go up into that yet. Okay. All right. Al's back with EXPD. EXPD. All right. So let's take a look here. All right. So that's it. Tends to be. It looks like it's moving up. I think we're still in a profit taking stage. We got red PTFs on the daily and the 60-minute chart. I think we're going to breach this high eventually, but we are going to have a little bit more of a pullback before it settles and returns back to the upside. I would not go into this. If you're still short like you are, I'd stay short until the PTFs turn yellow and then exit. So long term, I think we're probably going up. Short term, I think a short position makes sense for a trader. And when this gets below here and here, I think you basically get out of your short position, okay? Because this probably will be yellow. I mean, you have our software so you can follow that along. Another way to work that is when they turn yellow, just take your stop and put it on the top of each price bar until you're stopped out, okay? That way, if it keeps going a little bit more, you're in good shape. All right, let's take a look at PayPal, PYPL. Okay, so PayPal way up and way down. It looks like a crypto as well. All right, so look at that. Okay, so now it looks to me like this could be a prime candidate for a long trade because we're getting to a situation where we may be basing here. The weekly chart is not yet indicating a long position. All right, it's still in a basing pattern. The pyramid that would have had you short, you would have made a fortune on this shorting it. But the pyramids here now would not be active. It's been stopped out. You would be out of your short trade. We still need to wait for a pull up. You got a little bit of red here, got a nice bottom here. Let's see if the short-term charts are indicating a long trade. They're looking a little more bullish now, aren't they? So that's looking pretty good here. All right, so I had a short-term target here in anticipation of this, just in case it wasn't a bottom. It made sense as a trade then. We've got green PTFs. I'm thinking this isn't looking too bad now for a long trade. For a trader, this may be a good long trade at this point. If you're a long-termer, you might want to wait for a little further more breakout here. But yeah, all right, let's see what we got here. I'm going to remove these previous drawing tools because I think that was while waiting for that PTF to turn green. So, all right, so I'm going to recommend this as a long trade. And for now, what we'll do is make our target 144. So you could double your money on this. So that's PayPal. And you need to put your stop. Let's see where we got to put our stop. We need to put our stop at least under this pyramid here. And if you want to be super safe, put it under the pullback right here. So if this is a new move up, what we're hoping here is if this is an A wave, B wave, C wave, and if that takes it to here, that's great. If not, this will be a 1, 2, possibly a 3 and a brand new trend up. So either way, you want to be long, okay? So I'm going to recommend that, PayPal. Good one. All right. All right, let's see. Terry. Now, if I miss you, let me know. Sometimes, I see a lot of these in here. Sometimes I miss them. So if I didn't get to your symbol or skipped over it, it was accidental. Just type it back in for me, okay? All right, so this is AGNC. All right, red PTFs all across the board here. So we're still coming down. And I see you're long. All right, so Terry, technically from the tools, you don't want to be long here, okay? Because you got a red PTF on the weekly chart. You may get a little bit of a pull up on a retracement, but the 60-minute chart has a red too. So when you went into the trade, I'm not sure what time frame you were using, but I would not be in this trade at all right now. Okay, doesn't mean you can't make money. It may pull up a little bit, okay, before it comes back down, but it's not when you kind of want to be there, okay? It could go either way sooner or later, okay, long or short. So I'll leave that for you to decide, but I would be out, okay? All right, let's see here. All right, so let's take a look at PSTG. All right, so PSTG long. Okay, thanks, Al. All right, so we are definitely, I don't see any red PTF, so that's a good sign. I do see a pullback here with a red pyramid on the 60-minute. Not necessarily saying that's not, so that's probably, I mean, do we have a bottom in here? Is it going to turn? It could. All right. I think at this particular point here, I'm trying to get a feel on the weekly chart of where this is going. So we have the strongest owl to date on PSTG right now. So we're in some form of a wave 3. Without much history, it's really difficult to give you a target on this time frame. So I have to go to a lower time frame. So let's see on this chart if it's a help here. Okay, so maybe a 1, 2, and let's see. All right, so more highs on that. I could give you I don't think 3 is over yet. So I could give you probably a retracement of where this could possibly pull down to, but not a target yet on that time frame of where it's going. Let's see if I can get one on here. This may be a little better. Okay, so 3, 4. Let me just see here what we got. Okay, so this owl is much higher than this one, so we're okay for a wave count here. Okay, so let's do a fib retracement first, and I'm going to come back and use this to here. So that is where this thing could retrace to. Now it's already hit the 15% mark, but the 70% mark it has not hit yet. So, a little skeptical about jumping on a long position yet. I still think it's coming down. Now, the potential up target for this could be, let's say it retraces down in this area, could be up there, okay? So I don't think I would do anything with this, Al, all right? If you're long, you might have a little more pain to the downside, so you got to keep your stop probably under that 61.8, maybe at 41.44 for your stop. That should hold. And then we should see more highs. I would not go into this yet until we're sure this pullback is over. Okay. All right. GDRX. Frank, how are you? Frank, good to have you here. All right. So GDRX. So we looked at this one before, but we'll take a look at it again. All right. So it looks like we've got a bottoming basing pattern here. So it looks like our target's 20.61 to 31. We got a green PTF on the daily chart, but we are experiencing profit taking now, and you can see that clearly on the 60-minute chart. So I would not recommend this for a long trade now. All right, it looks like we'll dip below 660. All right, hopefully the pyramid here at 640 should hold. All right, then after that, I think you're going to get more highs. Okay. So target on this, probably short-term target would be 850. A longer target would be into that $20 range, but you're going to have to hold it for a year or so. short term, the target for 850 should come fairly soon within the next few months, okay? 3 months or so. All right, but I would not go into it now, folks, because we still got a red PTF, so it's still coming down. All right, so that's that. All right. Yep. Yeah, so Frank's saying he doesn't like it now. Let me put his next message up here. Long at 668, but don't like it now. Well, I think if you're willing to hold it pat beyond that mark and let it fall down a little bit more, you'll probably do okay, but it is going most likely below the 660 mark. So I don't know, what your intentions are in that, but technically it is coming down right now. All right, let's take a look. Art, how are you? Okay, APLD. All right, long, good. Long stop at 385. Excellent. Good information. All right, so yeah. All right, so look at the PTFs on the weekly and even the 60-minute chart, both green now. So you're in pretty good shape here. I think your stop here, let me just see if you're below this. You're at 385. Yeah. Okay, I'm liking that. I'm liking that. We've got red owls on all 3 time frames. We've got a little bit of a messy 60-minute chart here, okay? So you do have a reason to enter, all right, here off this, but you got an active pyramid. I'm not going to recommend this one, but this one may actually be, you may be okay because your early entry is supported by a green PTF on the 60-minute chart, okay? So I'm okay with that. I think I'd want those owls to be green before I could officially recommend it here, though. All right, so stop is set at the right place because if it deteriorates and go below that, get out, and then let's see where the bottom ends up, and you can try again if that happens, okay? But I think your idea is right, and I think eventually this will take off, and it may be taking off now. Target, long-term target is above 35, so a huge profit potential here, okay? So come back next week with this. Let's take a look at it. All right, let's go to Bitcoin. All right, RIOT, okay? And this is our ETF cryptos, and this is blockchain. All right, so cryptos are pulling back, folks, right now, okay, a little bit. Kind of due, they got the big halving coming up in Bitcoin in April. And I'm actually glad the Bitcoins are pulling back right now because if they don't pull back now, then they pull back probably right after the halving. So I'm glad they're doing it now because that means it could be setting up for a big move up after the halving. Okay, that's just my speculation, but possible. All right, so the pullback now is actually healthy, and this has been doing, blockchain has been doing that for quite some time. Now, what we're hoping on this one, okay, let me open up the weekly chart, is that we have a bottom. All right, and this bottom sits right in this area here. So we've had a big move off. Now, it's not unlikely to go into a little bit of disruption after a big move up, and then it goes. So that's what I'm anticipating will happen, and the PTF supports that. All right, PTF is calling for highs once this thing goes above 80. So this should fully recover and get above that. And again, this has a 75% accuracy rate. So the next high should be a good one. So we're kind of, in that area right now. You have a pyramid to the upside. This is an NP, all right, minor. This is a major, so this is the trend. And so you just got to make sure your stops aren't so close that you get wiggled out of it. All right, but so that's it. I'm not going to recommend this one right now because I want to see a turnaround in the lower time frames. But if you're long on it already, just have your stop low so you can survive this volatility. If you're thinking about it, not yet, okay? All right, DGX. All right, so Al is long. I guess you're long, considering a long or maybe long already. I would not do a long on this. Got a red PTF on the daily, okay? All right, Stu, DWAC. Looked at this. All right, so this is one that jumped up and hit this short-term target there, okay, and pulled back a little bit. You can see it pulling back. It's not done pulling back because we've got a red PTF on the 60-minute chart, but we do have a green PTF on the longer time frames. So after this pullback, it's a go. So here's the way I would play this. I'm not going to recommend it, but this has to go in the watch list because this has got tremendous potential. So the PTF is saying we're going to go below this price bar, which is 36.83. So another couple points down. All right. And then we got to see if it bottoms. And then we should, at that point, look at it for initiating a long position if you're not already in it. If you're already in it, have your stop at this pyramid here on the weekly chart, way over here on the far right. Let me open that up because this thing is sitting beautifully right down here. So it basically will keep you in during this volatility without a problem. You have nothing to worry about. Green PTF, great owl. This is going to make more highs. The question is just, it's still pulling back a little bit. So I hate to put people in it when I think we can get in with a better price a little bit later. So you don't want to miss it. So DWAC is a great one to put on. Let's look at it next week. But, you know, it's a 60-minute chart. So maybe by Wednesday of next week, it could be bottoming. And maybe next Friday will be a perfect time to look at it again. So bring it back, DWAC. If you're long, stay long. If you're thinking about it, I think we could probably get you in at a better price, okay? All right. All right, let's see what we got here. Art, my pleasure, okay? Let's see, Al, WMT. Let's take a look at Walmart here. Okay, so at this particular point, all right, I got some little bit of downside here. Boom. All right, so I'll tell you. Look at that stock split. All right, so I'll tell you on this one here, if you're long here, definitely the gap down, you probably, you know, I would ignore that in terms of the long-term aspect. I think that's a chart situation, data problem. So, I mean, if you look at the long-term chart, it's fine, okay? So let's focus on that. There is no reason not to just stay with this at this point. Again, in terms of the Elliott wave on this, you're in the throes of a major move up still, okay? So hopefully you got long a lot earlier. I don't see any reason to get out, okay? All right, let's see if we got any more. There is a couple more I want to take a look at. I want to take a look at GLD and silver, okay? So let's run over there and take a look at those. So on GLD, you know, we've been saying there's more highs coming because of the green PTF. Well, that has now turned yellow, okay? So the long-term objective was met. But as I said before, my target was about 220 on gold. So here's the thing. All right, gold is going to make more highs. And we got the statistics of the PTF showing us that right there. But by the same token, I think the money is also moving into the cryptos, okay? So I think that's going to take some of the fuel out. Now, I know there's a lot of gold bugs out there that would disagree with that. But there are some studies done that basically say that Bitcoin is crushing gold, okay, just so you know. So I think for me personally, after the studying I've done on the crypto market, I think the smarter move is Bitcoin at this point. All right, but that's my opinion. So check with your financial advisor and so forth on that. All right, the other one I want to look at is silver. All right, and silver is broken out of the pennant and going. And so I'm bullish on silver, and I'm going to recommend it again today, okay? I think it's got a lot more upside. I think it's finally maybe starting to break out. I think we got a major bottom here on this chart, and I think we're going up for a wave 5 now, All right, a new trend up. This could be a wave one, actually, wave two. So I think crypto is going to enter into a not crypto. Silver is going to enter into a major wave three. Okay, so I think this is a nice time to get into it and put your stop. I would put your stop on this first pyramid down here, right around the $20 mark. Okay, do not use the 22 because you're going to get a pullback here. So use the second pyramid down on that. And with green PTFs, you should be in good shape. Okay, so silver is a buy currently, and I do like that. And Jim, I just covered gold and silver for you. There you go, right? Jim and I were on the same thinking wavelength. All right, anything else? Anything else out there? Let's take a quick look and see how much Bitcoin is coming down here. I still think it's coming down a little bit further, folks. I hope so, because I got an order in around 65,071. So I'm hoping I'll get hit on that, filled. But strong trend up. Might not, have to see, but I think it will. All right, so that's that. Let's see what we got here. Okay, XME. That's good. All right, XME. All right, and you're just looking. Okay. All right, let's open up the weekly chart and see. All right, we go back to 2007 at a bottom here, rolled here. Okay, tough one to get a good Elliott wave count on that. It's very tough to find wave three, right? So let's see if the other time frames can help us. Messy market. All right. I'm thinking no, because it's coming down. No long trade because you got a red PTF here. I kind of think you can find something better. Okay, Art. I think also too, you can't go long even if you liked it because you have the red PTF on the 60-minute chart. So I don't think I would do anything with that. So hold off. We can look at it next week too. You can bring it back and see if it clears up. Okay. All right, is that AU, Frank? I'm not sure if that's the right one. I guess it is. Okay, AU. All right, looking for a long. Okay, let's open that up. All right, from a technical standpoint, I don't see it. Okay, I don't see any long position. I mean, if anything, that's a very messy market, stuck in a channel that's been going on for years. And so far, until it breaks out of that channel, you could be in it for another year. Let's see if there's any hope out of here. There's a little bit of bullishness, but coming out of here. So I guess for a short-term trade, again, I'm not sure where the target is because the PTF target is right where it is now. So the PTF target there is going to be what, 22.27 for a high, and you're at 22.13, and it looks like maybe a wave four. The only chart I think you could use to make any sense out of a possibility is the 60-minute chart where it's basically taking that move up and breaking it into the Elliott wave count we can actually see. So on this one here, all right, let's see where we'd have a wave two maybe. So I got a red owl. I think maybe we're heading down. Maybe if it gets into 2063 to 19, then that would be the wave four retracement. And maybe from there, then you could shoot for 23 to 26. Okay, but I would not go long now. Okay, and let me just put yours up there. Okay. All right, excellent. Okay, good. All right, anybody else? Good session today. I'll read off the good ones in just a minute. All right, let me just give it a little bit more time. And then what I do also at the end when we're done, I usually roll it over to the intraday time frames and just in the session there, and you guys can watch the market move on the lower time frames. Kind of fun to watch that. All right, I think that's it. I think we hit it. All right, so let me go over the winners for today. And also, great job, everybody. Yes, Gene is absolutely right. All right, so let me go over the winners for today and even the one that we have on the watch list. So give me a second. Let me come back up here. Okay, so on the good list for today, we've got INO. Now that's a long-term one. So that's one you need to think about going into if you're going to hold it for, a number of years, actually. USO, that's an immediate. CCL, immediate. CTRA, immediate. RNG, immediate. DBC, one of my favorites for today. PayPal, PYPL, and silver also is an immediate. So those are all the good ones for today. Now on the watch list, we got to look at this next week, is DWAC. That one is, I think, very close to being an excellent trade for next week. So let's take a look at that one. Please bring that one back. All right, so now I'm going to go back to full screen here. I want to thank everybody for coming. I'm going to put this on the lower time frames, and you can see the market is coming down today a bit, and the Dow is currently off around 168 points. Nasdaq's down about 204. You can see all this represented in the intraday time frames. So when we go to the intraday time frames, and these are the time frames we actually use for day trading. So what we try to do in day trading is actually trade the trends that occur on these low time frames. So in a case like this, you had a 3, you had a 4, and now a 5. So we're heading down, still one more leg down, and you can certainly see that. Probably going to pull up here. It looks like we're due for one based off here because this is an extended move down. So probably a pull up here and then another move down. So if I was not already short this, all right, I'd probably get out if that pyramid takes me out here and then try to get back in after the retracement. So in terms of, let's see where this possibly could go here. I might have to redraw this. Let me just make sure. Let's see what we've got cooking yet. Let me redraw that because that's not a 2, that's the 2. So that is the target for this eventually. But it looks to me, based on the 15-second chart over here, that we're probably going to get a retracement up into this area first. Let me draw it over here. So probably coming up here into that area first. So you probably would get stopped out of this leg down, but that was a nice profit. And then at that particular point, the stop would be at the pyramid. So if it keeps going down, we'll go down with it. If it hits the target, then we'll start trailing our stops. But that's kind of the way it's looking. So I do think we'll take out that bottom over here at some point. But at this particular point, I certainly would expect a rebound possible. All right, so we just made another low here. Nice thing about the pyramids is we just keep going down with it. All right. Okay, so that is it for today. All right, so Gene is saying give us a like today, and I'll leave that up there. And everybody have a great weekend. Thank you for coming. Great job today. We had a good, how many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 picks today. All right, not too bad. All right, and then we have one on the watch list, DWAC, which I like a lot too. All right, so have a good one. We'll be back next week, and thanks so much, okay? I'll put a little music on, and we'll let this unfold here on the short time frames, and then we'll go ahead and close the room. Nope, we just got another new pyramid forming here. So our stop would be basically trailing down on these pyramids. And then if this goes red, then that's indicating even more lows coming more quickly. We got a pretty good size bearish owl there too. Now this will be a wave 5 because of the wave 3 was back here with the steepest owl. The wave 4, nice thing is you can almost count the waves using the owl. Wave 4 has to have a green owl, and then wave 5 here. And you want bullish divergence between wave 3 and 5 when it gets in breaks below here. Well, that's our target. All right, I'll leave this up for just a couple more minutes and I'll end the room.